Hey there, it's Marcus back here in the one and only Decaffeinated Horror Studio. Just returned from a road trip of getting coffee and shopping, picking up some horror movies. So today we're going to look at this little haul of horror movies on DVD and Blu-ray. Let's get started. All right, everyone, I'm really excited to share with you what I picked up this week. This big pile of horror movie Blu-rays. We're going to start off with the movies that aren't Italian horror movies or Giallo movies. So they're not going to end up on the decaffeinated horror shelf, but there were some good purchases. I wanted to talk about them a bit. First one is Evil Laugh, the 1986 slasher movie, which I probably first saw on home video like in 88 or 89. That's this nice little sleeve. I normally wouldn't buy a movie like this. It seems like it's kind of your standard slasher movie, but it was a really good price, and Vinegar Syndrome put it out, so you know it's a good product. We get the reversible sleeve as always. A nice picture on the disc. So this movie, yeah, it's one of those movies. A group of young medical students spend the weekend in a building, and they're being stalked by some slasher over the weekend. I can't remember if it's a big house or an old building. Anyway, there's a lot of killings. There's a lot of horniness. I'm sure there's nakedness. You're a typical 80s slasher, but I don't know. I thought this would be fun. It does have some cool bonus features. It has a 78-minute making of documentary, which is pretty in depth for a forgettable slasher movie, and it has a audio commentary from the Hysteria Continues, my favorite horror movie podcast. So I look forward to checking this out. Next up is a DVD of Hello Mary Lou, Prom Night 2. I got this for a couple of dollars. I actually have a real soft spot in the heart for this movie. I love this movie. It's a 1987 slasher movie with some supernatural stuff, and it's really tongue in cheek. And Michael Ironside's in it. He's great. And I know that they are going to be doing I think Synapse is doing a 4K Blu-ray at some time in the future, but for like almost nothing. I just couldn't pass up owning that. It's a fun movie. And then this, which is definitely not decaffeinated horror, it's barely horror, but I did get a good deal on the Night Gallery sets, the 1970, yeah. This lasted from 1970 to 1973, hosted, created by Rod Serling. I owned the Twilight Zone box set. I just wanted to own this too. So, yeah, that's what we got so far. Now we're going to move on to some Italian horror. All right. The next two movies from this haul are both Italian movies. I'm excited about this. We have Zombie from 1979. Hopefully that shows up well. This cover, this sleeve is beautiful. So yeah, this is Lucio Fulci's Zombie from 1979. This is the 2018 Blue Underground release, 3-disc version. I'm not going to talk about this too much. I'm going to circle back to this in a later episode. I want to do an episode totally devoted to Zombie, review this release, or maybe cover Lucio Fulci in general. So we're going to hold off on that. It does look very exciting, though. And then we have The Card Player, directed by Dario Argento. This is the 2004 Giallo that he made. This is the 2022 Scorpio releasing Blu-ray with this great sleeve, great artwork. I may circle back to this one as well. So I haven't seen it in over 20 years. It stars Stefano Rocco as Anna, the police detective, who is clearly a stand-in for Asia Argento, Dario's daughter. This is a time period where she was in everything he directed. She must have been committed to something else. That's all I can say. But this movie, I remember being a little bland, surprisingly modern, but I'm going to give it a second chance. And yeah, it has some cool features on the Blu-ray. I know there's a more recent release by Vinegar Syndrome. They did a 4K, but again, not top of the line Argento movie. So I'm happy with this release. So the last thing I have to show you today is this Giallo collection box set. from 2001, Anchor Bay. Remember Anchor Bay when they were all the rage? Well, maybe you don't, but I certainly do. So anyway, these are DVDs. I don't really mind owning movies on DVD sometimes. I know it may sound strange. I'm always talking about these Blu-ray, boutique Blu-rays, but sometimes I just want to be able to see the movie. So let's do kind of a rapid fire review of these. First off, we have The Case of the Bloody Iris from 1972. Well, I already talked about that in week 2 of the vlog. Here's the much better version from Celluloid Dreams. So we won't go into that. Next up is The Bloodstained Shadow. Now, I must confess, I've never heard of this movie before. From 1978, it's more of a rural, coastal Italian village, one of those small town Giallo movies where there are murders going on. So it's from 1978, which is kind of past the prime of the Giallo craze, but still, I'll check that out. Then we have Short Night of Glass Dolls. I hope we can get a good look at that. Directed by Aldo Lotto. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that, not butchering that. That movie is interesting. I'm not even sure if it is a Giallo. It's, without spoiling much, it's the story of a man who is presumed dead, and he's still in his body. He's paralyzed. He's not sure what's happening. And before his autopsy, he has to figure out in his head what's going on. Is he dreaming? Is he in hell? Is he in heaven? What is happening? It's a really interesting movie. I've seen it before. It's kind of a unusual slow burn Giallo. And by the way, Celluloid Dreams has a release of that as well. So if you're interested, it probably looks a lot better than that one. Then lastly, the one I'm most interested in seeing is Who Saw Her Die? This is the 1972 Giallo from the same director, incidentally. So that movie, I must confess, I watched it after buying it immediately this morning. So that movie is quite good. It stars George Lazenby and Anita Strindberg. It opens up in a French ski resort. A young girl is murdered and then buried in snow. We flash forward a few years, and then there's someone who's stalking another young girl, the daughter of the George Lazenby character, who's really good in this movie. At first, I didn't even recognize him as that one-time James Bond because he has a mustache, longer hair. He's really thin in this movie too, but quite good in the movie. And you had me at Venice. It takes place. It's shot in Venice, exposes the seedy underbelly of Venice, and there's a lot of paranoia. You're not sure who is. Is there a big plot here? Who's done the killings? Anyway, this is also available currently from Arrow Home Video. So if you don't want to dig up an old DVD, you can buy a better version. So yeah, that's the Giallo Collection box set. Well, that about wraps that up. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you had as much fun as I did with this. Coming up soon, hopefully next week, we may do that Lucio Fulci episode that I was talking about and covering Zombie. We might get to one of those Giallo Essential box sets. We're already overdue for one of those. But also, I did want to mention another thing that's coming up in the future. I was asking social media when I was going to open this Vinegar Syndrome box that I talk about almost every week. Yeah, so I ordered this Black Friday 2024, which is so long ago that I don't precisely remember what's in it. So I figured I'd do is save this, try and grow a little audience, build some anticipation, and I don't know, maybe episode 20 will be just ripping this open and find out what's inside, and we'll both be surprised. But anyway, yeah, like I said, thanks for watching. Do me a favor and like this video, subscribe on YouTube, and find me on, Facebook. Definitely find me on X and Blue Sky. I'm there a lot. I love to hear feedback on these videos, and I just love to talk about this stuff. So, yeah, we'll see you next week. More additions to the Decaffeinated Horror Movie Show. See you next week, everyone.